There is one aspect that is generally not talked about when we are discussing how to fix the economy, and that is food. The supply chain can easily be disrupted, and this needs to be overhauled not on a federal level, not on a global level, but at the local level. And that's what we'll discuss today. Growing food in a different country and importing it can be extremely risky when there is a supply chain disruption. As we saw in 2020, there is more fragility than initially perceived. Look at how many things failed in the supply chain and are still failing up until this time frame, and yet we rely so heavily on them. Importing the products were becoming an issue. Trying to get basic staples were impossible, or you had to pay a very high price. This isn't a good sign, and especially when it comes to something so important like food, we need to start thinking a little bit more intelligently. Many retail locations are empty and the landlords are desperate to find new tenants. This is a perfect opportunity to work with the community and entrepreneurs to grow food indoors and feed the local community. Think about how many Sears and JCPenney and Macy's and all these other stores that are massive. They operate basically giving the whole community jobs in some cases. And yet when they go dark, the entire thing starts to fail around them. And yet, when they are empty, that presents an opportunity. So this could be something that could actually happen starting on a small scale, starting with just 1 or 2 or 3 and growing from there. Growing food locally indoors supports local businesses. It produces year-round jobs in areas with shorter growth seasons and reduces traffic, saves gas and energy, reduces logistics issues, and more. Think about all of the different aspects here that could be applied to growing food in these places. It is amazing, the potential. That's not saying there are any potential downfalls or downsides to this. Of course, anything has a downside, but it should be looked at and it should be a consideration, because when you have these price fluctuations, you are going to affect people's bottom line, and it puts the most impact on those who are in the 50% or below. And that's a lot of people that will be obstructed by all of the different aspects that come into play, not just with food, but of course with energy prices and so on. But if you can keep the prices down, and you would do so growing it locally and being able to sustain this in many different ways if they do it properly, of course, this is going to create stability, and a stable and prosperous economy is going to benefit the middle class and help out everybody as a result. Imagine buying your lettuce, for example, direct from the vertical farm right in the middle of a major city. So you're not grabbing that from not even just out of town, but it's coming, let's say, from Mexico, and you live in Canada. That has to come a long way to get to you. Imagine how many things could fail on the way there. No, you can go right into the city, get what you need. It would be cheaper in most cases, and of course it would benefit you and everyone else. If you haven't heard of this, I will assure you that it is already being done on a small and medium scale. You can look up the videos, type in vertical farming indoors. There are people who produce an income from this alone, on its own, actually growing food, typically microgreens, wheatgrass, and other things, but it can be applied on a larger scale and certainly should be done because there is profitability in it if they do it right, I am sure. But don't go anywhere, because there is so much more. If you want to fix the global economy, there are more steps to this. So let's get into the next one.